The following segment is sponsored by Comcast.
Thanks for watching Afternoon Live. A special workshop is helping local veterans coping with PTSD process their service experiences while giving family and community members a unique insight into their challenges. Here to share more, we welcome the founder of Patton Veterans Project. Benjamin Patton is with us. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, Benjamin Patton. General Patton?
Correct. There's a few generals in my life. Both my father and my grandfather, who's the one you're thinking of, were the generals George S. Patton.
Oh my gosh, what was that like growing up?
Well, I didn't get a chance to meet my grandfather because he passed away in 1945, just after the war. But I feel like I definitely have his facsimile in my father, who passed away in 2004. But he's been a great mentor to me, and in many ways he's my hero because he's the one I grew up with.
Wow.
But he was just as tough of a guy.
Oh my God! So how did that shape you? How did it shape you to grow into all the work that you're doing now?
Well, one would like to think I'm still growing, if you will, but I would say that it really taught us a legacy of service. I had thought about going in the military for quite some time, but we sort of maxed the course in that area, and I wanted to try something different and be my own guy. So I followed a different path toward filmmaking and psychology, but it influenced me in important ways. I think the main one being a recognition not only of service and of leaving the world better than you found it, but of also veterans, and I would say military families in particular, because that's been the focus of my mother and all of her work as, half a century married to my father.
Right. I love that you are talking about families. And so tell me about this project.
Well, I founded this in 2012, and as a filmmaker and having done a lot of work with teenagers around the idea of identity and forming identity through film, and so began to apply that to veterans, wondering if veterans coming back from combat theater or other challenging service experiences could use film as a way to articulate things that are very difficult to express in normal communication. Can I express something without even using words, or using G.I. Joes or other avatars or fictionalized characters? And what we found, both through our own work and through a clinical study we just finished with the VA, that in fact it really does help them reduce their PTSD symptoms, and also it helps the rest of us, you and me, the civilians in the world, to better understand what their service was all about.
The clinical study. So this is something that, how long over a time period was that?
It was about a 2-year program, and we did about a half a dozen workshops where we looked at post 9/11 veterans and this as a modality. In other words, they come together, all of us are familiar with films, and we all have a very powerful, video camera in our pockets, and so we use this very robust and ubiquitous medium to allow them to express themselves in this kind of creative way, and we pair them up with professional filmmakers, and they roll out these narratives. And this weekend we're doing a workshop here in Portland, which was generously supported by Comcast, who does a lot for veterans actually, and we're thrilled, and I know we'll talk about that as well.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So now there's this workshop. Who can participate?
Well, any veteran really qualifies, because look, when I was a kid, my dad said, look, if a veteran hasn't undergone stress, they're either lying or they're a fool. If they haven't experienced some level of stress, they're not telling the truth, because just the life of a soldier or a service member is stressful. Whether you're in garrison and have dealt with things like military sexual traumas or training accidents, or if you've gone to combat and suffered an injury or had a colleague killed or something like that. So you have to start with that premise that we lead lives that are stressful in the military. And then the other part of it is that all of us really have stories to tell, and these veterans are uniquely qualified to tell their stories. All we do as professional filmmakers is serve as the banks of the river, to nudge them into their own creative process, to create a safe, sort of supportive environment where they can tell those stories collectively.
Right, and tell their true stories. There's no other angle. Sometimes when you're watching different films or documentaries, you're like, what's the angle?
Right.
The angle here is just to heal, right? And to tell the truth.
It is. What's interesting about it, though, is if you have a story that's collaborative, like if you and I were making a film about loss, for example, your experience of loss might be different from mine. But if we broaden it out to something which I would call more archetypal, more representative of the greater idea of loss, what's interesting is that if it's relevant to both of us, the story, then it's probably relevant to a number of other people as well. And also it allows us the opportunity, I don't want to use the word hide, but to decide how much of ourselves we put in the film. So we can sort of hide behind metaphors and fictionalized characters. For instance, making a film about what it's like to transition out of the military with PTSD using G.I. Joes. So you don't have to reveal anything about you per se. However, it can be very, very expressive and evocative of your experience without revealing any more of you than you really want to be revealed. And that's the great benefit of this, is it's about agency. It's about my ability to decide how far I stick my toe in the water.
Sure. Yeah. No, this is powerful. Just sitting here with you talking about it is powerful. I can't imagine. So now these workshops and this workshop, there's no fee?
There's no fee for the workshops, and also that we have this incredible opportunity now to share these films a couple of weeks from now at the Portland Film Festival, which is on October 20th.
Yes.
We're going to be showcasing these films, and the festival is free to veterans, so they can come and see these films. And hopefully this will lead to us coming back to Portland and doing more of these workshops, because there's a lot of veterans in Oregon.
Absolutely. I think this is necessary, and I love the way that you're coming at this.
Yeah.
I think this is fantastic. Thank you so much, Benjamin.
Such a pleasure.
Really,
to be
we
here.
had the information for you on your screen, but we will also have it. Oh, there it is again. Look at it. Just pops up. The Patton Veterans Project will be screened at the High-Low Hotel in Portland Sunday, October 20th. Again, information on your screen. You can also call 1-360-690-1842. And of course, we will have all this information for you on our website at katu.com. Don't go away. We will be right back with more Afternoon Live after this. Thank you.
Thank you.